The studio lights of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson glowed softly that night, but something in the air felt heavier than usual. Backstage, John Wayne stood quietly, his tall frame slightly hunched, his cowboy hat resting in his hands instead of on his head. To millions, he was the Duke, the fearless gunslinger, the unbreakable American hero. But tonight, he wasn't stepping out as a legend. He was stepping out as a man. When Johnny Carson announced him, the audience erupted into applause. Wayne walked onto the stage slowly, smiling that familiar half-smile. He shook Carson's hand firmly, nodded to the crowd, and sat down. But his eyes, those steady, commanding eyes, looked tired. Carson, ever the master of lightness, began with jokes. They talked about old westerns, about horses that didn't listen and directors who shouted too much. The audience laughed. Wayne delivered a few dry one-liners, his voice deep and steady. Then Carson gently shifted the tone. "Duke," he said softly, "you've been through a lot these past few years." The applause faded into silence. Wayne inhaled slowly. America knew about his battle with cancer. They knew about the surgeries, the rumors, the whispers that their invincible cowboy wasn't so invincible anymore. But they had never heard him speak about it like this. He cleared his throat. "You spend your whole life playing a man who doesn't back down," Wayne said, his voice rougher than usual. "Then one day, your own body tells you you're not in charge." The audience was completely still. He spoke about fear, not the fear of dying, but the fear of not being strong enough for his family. He talked about sitting alone in hospital rooms at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he'd see another sunrise. He admitted something that shocked everyone. "I was scared," he said quietly, "and I didn't like admitting that." Carson leaned forward, his usual grin gone. "That doesn't make you less of a man." Wayne looked at him, eyes glistening. "For a long time, I thought it did." The silence in the studio was profound. No laughter, no coughing, just the hum of studio lights and the sound of a legend revealing his humanity. Wayne spoke about legacy, not movies, not awards, but about holding his children's hands, about wishing he had said, "I love you," more often. He said fame didn't matter in hospital corridors. Tough guy roles didn't matter when you're alone at 3 a.m. "What matters," he said slowly, "is whether you were kind, whether you showed up for the people who needed you." A tear rolled down the cheek of a woman in the front row. Even Carson's eyes shimmered. For a brief moment, the myth of John Wayne faded. In its place was Marion Morrison, the boy from Iowa who became a symbol of strength but still carried the same fragile heart as everyone else. Carson reached over and placed a hand on Wayne's shoulder. "You've shown up for a lot of people, Duke," he said. Wayne swallowed hard. "I hope so." The audience rose to their feet, not in roaring cheers but in something deeper: respect, gratitude, love. As the band began to play softly, Wayne stood. He tipped his hat, not as a cowboy riding into the sunset, but as a man saying thank you. That night, millions watched a hero admit he was human. And somehow, that made him stronger than ever.